audition for Pose, I was actually heading to New York to do a play with Bernie and Telsey, who's now doing the live version of The Little Mermaid. And when I was out there, I actually got a call from my agent, and my agent said, I have the perfect role for you. It's about the ballroom culture, takes place in 1987, and Ryan Murphy is doing this project. And so immediately I was super excited because I've always loved Ryan Murphy since I was a little kid from American Horror Story. So I did a self-tape for two other characters. The only characters that were available at the time were Blanca and Electra. And I don't think that I fit the description of what they were looking for, but they did end up flying me out to New York. And I auditioned for Ryan and all the executives and writers. And I remember Ryan, after my audition, and saying, "Who are you? Tell me about yourself." And he went just like this. And so I said, "Well, what do you want to know?" And we just began to talk. And I think it was just me being myself. I think Ryan saw something in me, because shortly after that, while I was filming the play, I got a phone call from my agent, and he said, "Ryan Murphy loves you so much, he wants to create a character for you and make you a series regular." And so I was in Times Square. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was in a cab, and I just started crying. I was crying because I was so happy, and I felt like everything that I worked towards was just now, coming to fruition. And I never knew what it would feel like being in this position now. And Ryan Murphy has honestly been a big pivotal moment in my life and changed the narrative of my life for sure. I knew that the show would make an impact. I knew that it would cause attention because the subject matter is so different from what we're used to seeing on television, especially at the forefront of storylines. Did I think it would be this big? I still am not fully aware how big it is, and I'll explain that. I'm an artist that is also a person that happens to come with activism as well. I think just living my truth, I am automatically an activist. So because of that, I'm constantly aware of the work that needs to be done. So I haven't really stepped outside of myself and the work that I'm doing to realize how huge the show is. And I hope that makes sense. I think in years to come now, I'll look back and say, wow, we did something great. But in the moment, in the present, I'm also a person fighting for love and almost equating it to like civil rights. And so it's successful, I know that, and I knew it would be successful, but to the magnitude, I don't even think I realize how big it is just yet. The hardest moments for me, I'd say the reality of knowing that though I am portraying characters on screen, this is the reality for so many people. A lot of the experiences we see in Pose, I've experienced myself, and Pose is merely just a glimpse of how treacherous it is for a lot of the girls, how dangerous it is for a lot of the girls and guys. And so the hardest part is knowing that that's the reality, and knowing that there's so much work to be done, and so many trans people are being murdered or committing suicide, and it's going on deaf ears. And that's the hardest part for me. It's hard for me to constantly be present and talk about these things. Even now, I'm doing this interview, and I love that I'm doing it because I am shedding light on a marginalized community. But it's hard for me because I'm speaking this over and over, and it's that much more real every time I say it. And I have to live this, and my brothers and sisters have to live this. But I will say, the fact that I'm able to be a pillar of light, a beacon of light, one of them, that brings me comfort. I think the show is shedding light. It's initiating a conversation in a room. It's allowing people to feel comfortable enough to talk about this. This subject matter has been around since the beginning of time. Of course, it's trending now and it's popular, but people of trans experience, men and women, have been around since the beginning of time. So it's more of a question to say, why are we just now talking about it? Why is it just now something that people care about? We're all human. I think the show is allowing a conversation to now be initiated, and people are more so comfortable with talking about it. And I think that's what the show is doing, but it's only the beginning.